Now, listen, finally today, we discussed it, I touched on it yesterday on the programme. By the way, you can get yesterday's programme if you want to hear that full interview with the one. That was 20 minutes with Mark Patterson, the second half of this bit, yesterday on BBC Sounds. We were talking about the Olympics, of course, in Paris, and I'll be speaking to Claudie Paralympians, by the way, Claudie and Judith, the McComb sisters, next week before they compete in this year's Paralympics. But look, it was one local campaigner who once again give us all cause to think on social media, making the point that the Olympic torch, the flag shouldn't have been handed on to LA before the Paralympics had started and finished. The regional campaigner for disability, Dermot Devlin, joins us on the line. Dermot, good afternoon to you. Always a pleasure. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Dermot, it kind of strikes you as kind of obvious, but I think it took you to say it.
Well, I can't take credit for this. It was me sort of endorsing another campaigner who's a disabled broadcaster, Andy Stevenson, where he quite rightly, and it seemed so obvious to me when he said it, that rather than handing over the Olympic torch to LA for the next 4 years, it should be handed over to the Paralympic team who are going to be starting next week to connect the Paralympics to the Olympics, rather having it as a separate and distant thing, that when people finish watching the Olympics, that they're already talking about the next 4 years, without realising there's another fantastic event coming up in Paris next week.
And Dermot, the point being, I've heard concern that there's 1 million and something tickets unsold for the Paralympics, that the cut-off from the, if you want to call it the mainstream Olympics, that people are worried that it almost, it sort of shoves the Paralympics to the back of the mind, the back burner. Would you agree with that?
I would certainly agree that, that the Olympics seems to be the forgotten brother, the forgotten sister, and there needs to be more to do to promote it. But I also will say that, yes, as you say, there's 1 million tickets still left, but there's other factors to consider into this. For disabled people, it's very difficult to travel to a different country, very difficult to get accommodation, very difficult to get access around, particularly ones that they don't know. And I've heard a few people have said that they've been over to Paris, and it's not the easiest city to get around. And I think as part of the Olympic bid for any city going forward, that you need to take into consideration just how accessible it is to get to your city, and how accessible to get around your city, and how accessible it is to get around the venues, because that should be part of the bid when countries and cities are putting a bid to the Olympic and Paralympic teams going forward.
And the ratings, Dermot, of watching Tom Cruise, abseiling, I mean, it was box office quite literally. And then, of course, we're in LA on the shore in Venice Beach. There's the Chili Peppers, there's Billie Eilish. That kind of profiling at the end of the Paralympics would have given you a real proper global bookend for the Paralympics. I get your argument, Declan, or Dermot.
Exactly, it is to say, because people just look at this then it's just a wee event, like a wee aftershot, or maybe just something that is a tack on to the Olympics. Where it's not, it's absolutely fantastic athletes, competing from the north, both for Team GB and Team Ireland.
Okay.
And we should be promoting them, and we should be incredibly proud of the skills that they have, that many other people like myself would aspire to reach to. Now, unfortunately, I'm in my mid-40s, so I think the Paralympics is past my time. But there are younger disabled people coming forward and going, I can do this, and I can get to the world stage.
Dermot, we'll talk to you closer to the time. Paralympics around the corner. Thank you for that, local man Dermot Devlin there, disability campaigner of many, many years standing. Folks, it's time.